number one health and wellness podcast.
Jay Shetty.
Jay Shetty.
The one, the only Jay Shetty.
Hey everyone, welcome back to On Purpose. I am so grateful that you're back to listen, learn, and grow. And it has been an incredible year so far. We've had Dan Buettner, the expert behind the Blue Zones. If you didn't catch the Netflix documentary, make sure you listen to the episode. If you did watch the documentary, listen to the episode as well. It will blow your mind as to how people in the Blue Zones live till over 100, the habits, the practices, the diets. It is really, really fantastic information. We've also had the one and only Michelle Obama on the podcast. Thank you for all the love, all the reviews, all the posts and stories about that episode. And I'm so glad that you loved my goal setting method as my weekly workshop. Today's weekly workshop is for all of you who already know that it's going to be hard to maintain motivation this year. Maybe you've already slipped up. Maybe you've already tripped up. Maybe you haven't, but you've got close and you know that feeling. You've started to recognize that there is always a challenge, that there's always something, some resistance that you're trying to make sure it doesn't get the better of you. How many of you have already been challenged? How many of you have been pushed? How many of you have been under pressure to break your goal, to move away, to lose motivation? Now, here's the thing. This episode is for you. Whether you've stayed on track so far or whether you've fallen off, this episode is for you. If you want to stay on track, this is going to give you the scientifically proven methods to boost your motivation and stay motivated. And if you're someone who's fallen off or scared you're about to, this is going to be the episode that's going to get you back up there, back on track. This year is all about making sure that we have you on track, on purpose, for as long as you want to be, however you want to be, at the same time as giving you the space to rest, recover, and rejuvenate. Now, I'm going to be giving you a lot of great tips today, so make sure that you take screenshots, make sure that you take notes if you are able to, if you're walking or you're at the gym or you're cooking. Thank you so much for choosing On Purpose if you're driving too. So, step number one, to stay motivated, especially when it feels like you're running out, something known as cognitive restructuring. This is a technique that's often used in both coaching and therapy, and there are 4 stages of cognitive restructuring. You have awareness, reappraisal, adoption, and evaluation. I'll repeat those. The 4 stages of cognitive restructuring are awareness, reappraisal, adoption, and evaluation. Now, let me walk you through when you would use this. Imagine you started the year saying, I'm going to go to the gym 5 days a week. Or maybe you've promised yourself that you won't be eating sugary treats in the evening. Whatever commitment, whatever goal that you've made for yourself, whatever resolution that you've set. Now, let's say it's been a stressful week. Work piled up, maybe you had a slight conflict with your partner, maybe you and your friends aren't seeing eye to eye right now, right? There's some stress that's happened. Maybe there's some family thing going on right now. Right now you're nodding along going, Jay, how do you know? Well, it's happening to all of us. You're not alone, right? So something like that's come in and all of a sudden you're sitting there and you're thinking to yourself, I don't know if I can be bothered to go to the gym tomorrow. You know what? I just feel like I need to have a tub of ice cream right now. Whatever it may be for you, you go and grab that tub of ice cream. You wake up the next morning, you miss going to the gym, you press snooze on the alarm clock, you miss the time that you were meant to get up, you're running late to work. What's the thought that goes through your head? I messed up. I wish I didn't eat ice cream. I wish I didn't miss my workout. I've fallen off. That's it. It's all over. I've already messed it up. I failed. I'm going to have to wait till next month. I'm going to have to wait till next year, right? We have all these really irrational thoughts, and I'm sure you've had some of these before, or maybe you're having them right now where you're saying, it's only the second week and I've already fallen off, right? I've already found it difficult. I've already broken my promise to myself. This is where cognitive restructuring comes in. So what usually happens to us is that idea perpetuates, that idea persists, and then that idea becomes our reality. I messed up, there's no point anymore, I've fallen off, I've broken it, and then we start that new pattern, eating ice cream, missing your workout, missing the alarm, for example. In cognitive restructuring, we first become aware of that dialogue and how that dialogue has changed. We do a reappraisal, we look at it, we evaluate it. We try and understand where it's coming from, and we actually decide and say to ourselves, actually, I'm going to choose a different thought process. I needed that ice cream that night. I needed to miss a workout. I needed some time for recovery. I'm going to be so excited and enthusiastic to get back on tomorrow because I had a well-deserved break. You're not telling yourself that you made the right decision, everything's perfect, everything's wonderful. What you're saying is you're trying to frame or reframe the situation that you went through in a way that makes it a healthier belief. Believing that you have messed up and failed is not going to get you back on track, but restructuring and reframing it as a recognition of, hey, I was stressed. I recognized that because I was stressed, I needed different things. But now I'm really excited to get back on. And I often say this to people, that you have to program your mind the night before, right? You set your alarm the night before so that it rings the next morning. We have to code our brain. We have to reframe our cognitive structure the night before so that we wake up with that code. It's literally like coding. You're coding your mind to say, I will wake up tomorrow morning feeling refreshed, calm, and energized. Coding our mind, saying, I will be excited to work out, to choose healthy foods, whatever it is for you, right? So I want you to give that a go. And the best way to do this is by journaling. Now you can voice journal, audio journal, or write journal, whichever one works for you. But it's so powerful. Try it out. Now, the second principle, second step that I want to share with you is less of a science one, but more of a psychological one. Follow all the right accounts linked to your goal and like all their posts. I want you to come up with a list of 10 accounts to do with what you're trying to build. Are you trying to build a stronger mindset? Are you trying to build a stronger body? Are you trying to build a stronger emotional connection? I want you to find the top 10 social media pages. Now, a lot of people will say, don't use social media, get off social media. Now, we all know, A, that's really hard. B, it can be extremely challenging to live your year like that. But here's a way we can actually use social media to our advantage. Find those pages on TikTok or Instagram, whatever you use, turning it on its head. And I want you to like the most recent posts, and I want you to comment on the recent posts. Here's what that's going to do. That's going to tell the algorithm to show more of those posts to you. Now, every time you're on social media, you're going to get more mindset advice. You're going to get more health and wellness advice. You're going to get more advice on whatever it is that you're trying to build. Maybe it's creativity. I do this all the time. And I find then that whenever I go onto social media, even if I go on to scroll, or if I'm going to see your comments and reply or whatever it may be, I start to see the things I really want to see. But it takes the act of saying, what are the 10 accounts? What are the last 3 posts? Let me like and comment on them as well, right? So 10 accounts, 3 posts to like and comment on. If you do that simple act, you will start to see the algorithm show you more of that type of content. And this is really important because we've heard that famous saying so many times that you become the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And I would argue you become the average of the 5 accounts you spend the most time on. And so our lives have expanded away from individual people to the accounts, the pages that we follow. And so I want you to do that consciously, because chances are, unless you've promised yourself to be off social media, which is amazing if you have, but if you're still using social media, this is a great way of actually using it to your advantage. Now, number 3 is something that a lot of you may do, but some of us don't appreciate just how powerful it can actually be. When you're trying to do something 3 times a week, 5 days a week, maybe you're doing something 7 days a week. Maybe you've seen this in the movies, maybe you've seen your friend do it. It is so important to tick off the day. Some people cross it off. I say tick it off. Crosses make you feel like something's bad, right? We've been programmed to believe that a cross is negative, right? When you get a cross on a test, it's the wrong answer. Put a tick every single day. It sounds like a really small, minor thing, but the simple act of putting a tick on a day when you've completed something, it gives you that sense. Now, we've been programmed like this, right? When you were young, you'd get a gold star. We don't have that anymore. So if we just say, yeah, I went to the gym today, cool, it doesn't give us that sense of completion. Completion is a really important metric to be measured. See, we only measure success, right? We only measure the result. But completion is so valuable to recognize. And the only person that knows you completed it is you. Like, someone may see a difference in your appearance, someone may notice a difference in how you're living your life, but you know when you completed something, and it's what you completed that leads to the result that you deeply desire. So I really want you to keep a calendar and physically tick it off, not on your phone. I want you to have the physical calendar where you, when you've been to the gym 3 times a week, that day you finish it, put a tick on that day, put a tick on the next day, and keep it in front of you. Because every time you see more and more ticks on that day, guess what? It will motivate you. Even if you missed one and you have 2 ticks that week, that's still going to motivate you the next time. The more you put crosses, the more you don't have this visible. You start going, oh, I missed the last 2 days, so it doesn't matter about today. Whereas when you look at it and you went, oh my gosh, 2 days ago I actually went. And guess what? I went 3 days in a row before that. That's motivating, right? That's why we do it. This isn't about accounting, right? It's not just keeping account. It's actually psychologically proven that feeling of I've done it, you know, looking at the month and saying, wow, this month I actually went 15 times rather than, oh, this month I think I missed a lot of sessions, right? Notice that difference in cognitive restructuring. The most healthiest, wealthiest, and wisest people are looking at the other side. This isn't just half glass full. It's actually taking a moment to acknowledge and recognize the number of days you've completed. If you look at all the apps you use, they all use this as gamification. It will tell you that you've worked out 3 days in a row. It will tell you that you have completed this mindfulness practice 7 days in a row, whatever it may be, because we know, or the apps know, that psychologically you feel more motivated. Please, please, please do this physically. Get out a calendar, print it out for the month, buy one of your favorite ones, right? And put a tick, a big green tick on each one. You deserve it. This is about valuing yourself, valuing the commitment you've made, and valuing the completion and the process as much as you value the result. Because otherwise, if we keep waiting for the result to value ourselves, we'll stop the process. And that's what happens to 99% of people. We're waiting so much for the result that we lose faith in the process, right? We're yearning so badly for the result that we lose faith in the process. I'll be honest, managing money has always been something I've had to stay mindful about. It feels like everywhere you turn, someone's trying to make you spend. That's where Acorns comes in. Acorns is a financial wellness app that makes it easy to start saving and investing for your future. You don't need to be an expert. Acorns will recommend a diversified portfolio that matches you and your money goals. You don't need to be rich. Acorns lets you get started with the spare money you've got right now, even if all you've got is spare change. Sign up now and join the over 13 million all-time customers who have already saved and invested over $22 billion with Acorns. Plus, Acorns will boost your new account with a $20 bonus investment. Offer available at acorns.com/purpose. That's acorns.com/PURPOSE to get your $20 bonus investment today. Paid non-client endorsement. Compensation provides incentive to positively promote Acorns. Tier 6 compensation provided. Investment involves risk. Acorns Advisors LLC, an SEC registered investment advisor. View important disclosures at acorns.com/purpose.
I'm Cheryl Swoops, WNBA champ, 3-time Olympian, and Basketball Hall of Famer. I'm a mom and I'm a woman.
I'm Tarika Foster Brasby, journalist, sports reporter, basketball analyst, a wife, and I'm also a woman.
And on our new podcast, we're talking about the real obstacles women face day to day.
See, athlete or not, we all know it takes a lot as women to be at the top of our game.
We want to share those stories about balancing work and relationships, motherhood, career shifts. You know, just all the shit we go through.
Because no matter who you are, there are levels to what we experience as women.
And T and I, well, we have no problem going there.
Listen to Levels to This with Cheryl Swoops and Tarika Foster Brasby, an iHeart Women's Sports production in partnership with Deep Blue Sports and Entertainment. You can find us on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
How many steps does it take to cure blood cancer? We won't know until it happens, but when you register for the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society's Big Climb, you can help get us closer. It's your time to join communities nationwide, to climb iconic buildings and arenas all over the country, to give patients, survivors, and families the support they need at every step of a diagnosis. Go to LLS.org and sign up now. You can also join our nationwide virtual climb from anywhere and show up for blood cancer patients. Go to LLS.org. That's LLS.org.
Now, number 4. This is the biggest one that has made a huge difference in my life. Every time you lose motivation, here are the 3 people you need in your life. You need one person to call when you fall off. That's the person you complain to, you vent to, you share your struggle with. You need one person to call who helps you get back on. You need that one person who's going to push you and challenge you, right? The first one person might be caring. The second one's going to challenge you. And then the third person you need is the person you do it with. Because guess what? When we want motivation, we have to make motivation social. If your motivation is only based on your own mind, it may let you down. But when your motivation is based on it being more social, competitive, or collaborative, amazing things are possible. I have a friend where we defined our 3 values of our friendship as being fitness, fun, and friendship, right? We wanted everything we did all year round to be based on fitness and fun. So we found being competitive and collaborative was a huge way of staying motivated towards our goals. So one person to call when you fall off, one person to call to who gets you back on, and then one person to actually do the activity with. These are the 3 most important people in your motivation circle. Think about it right now. Who's the person that you call when things are not going right? Who's the person that you call that you know is going to tell you the truth even if you don't want to hear it? That person's really important. Often we think the person that's important is just the person who's going to tell us what we want to hear. The person who tells you what you need to hear is as important, if not more important, than the person who tells you what you want to hear. And then the person who doesn't just hear you out, but actually says, yeah, let's do it. Let's get on with it. Let's build. Those are the 3 key people. Remember, if you're losing motivation, make it more social, make it more competitive, or make it more collaborative. Competition and collaboration are brilliant ways to get motivated. Gamify it, right? Set a number. If you and your friends are collaborating about how many workouts can we go to together this week, that's where you grab motivation. A lot of us try and solve motivation as an individual thing. Motivation is so much more of a collective thing, I promise you. Tip number 5. This actually transformed my life. Listen to this carefully. The most important thing is how you feel after you do something. We overvalue what we feel before something, and we undervalue what we feel after something. I'll give you an example. If I don't feel like working out before a workout, I will overvalue that and listen to it. But if I feel good after a workout, I will undervalue that and just move on. We have to shift that narrative. When something goes well, when you complete something, not only do you want that green tick, you want to write about it, you want to talk about it, you want to share it, right? Make a big deal about it. Be louder about your wins, because we've all experienced this. When we lose, we cry for a month, but when we win, we celebrate for a day, right? How many times have you realized this, right? Let me say that again. When we lose, we cry for a month, right? If something goes wrong, we'll complain for a month. We'll, criticize for a month. We'll compare for a month. But when something goes right, we go, I went to the gym 3 times this week. No big deal, right? We keep saying no big deal, but it is a big deal. Make a big deal out of it. And I'll tell you why. This isn't about ego. This isn't about pride. The reason to make a big deal about your wins and completion is you are convincing your brain of this new narrative that I really like this. This is really good for me. It makes me feel good, right? And in our modesty or our false humility, we make it out like it's no big deal, which means our brain goes, working out, no big deal. But guess what? Eating that tub of ice cream feels really, really good. So reward yourself. Find a way to reward yourself. And one of the best ways of rewarding yourself is telling someone who cares about you this amazing achievement you made this week. A reward isn't a physical thing. It's not a food. It's actually sharing how you won, what you did, expressing how you broke through it, because that gives you more motivation. In fact, a recent study found that immediate rewards you give yourself, especially in the first stages of changing your behavior while it's becoming a habit, can boost intrinsic motivation more than delayed rewards. In the study, when people were asked to complete a task, there was a 20% increase in motivation amongst those participants who received an immediate bonus compared to those who received nothing. And that is why it's so important that as soon as you finish an activity that you're proud of, something you were struggling to do, call someone up, tell them about it. It's not about ego. It's not about showing off. It's not about pride. It's about convincing and reframing your cognitive ability to see it as a positive, to see it as powerful. Step number 6. One of the ways for me, one of the reasons why I lose motivation sometimes is because I feel like I'm not achieving anything. It's almost like I did the laundry, I did the groceries, I did the dishes, I got lots of stuff done, but I didn't do the one thing I wanted to do. I uncovered this a few years ago and it totally transformed my life. I call it effective versus efficient days. Certain days in my life are efficient. It means I got lots of stuff done, lots of small things, the groceries, the dishes, my accounting, right? Whatever it is, all the stuff, all the efficiency stuff. And then there are some days that are effective where I maybe only got one thing done, or an effective week where I only achieved one thing, but it's really big for me. And sometimes what I find is we end up filling our life with lots of efficient days, but we don't have many effective weeks or months. And it's the effective weeks that make us feel motivated, right? You have a big breakthrough. You have a creative outburst. You have an expression that brings you to life. I want you to plan to have an effective day or an effective week where you're focused on the hardest thing, the most important thing, the thing that you keep putting off, right? I have a friend who's always putting off the hard stuff and keeps focusing on the easy stuff. But it's the hard stuff that's going to bring motivation. And in order to do this, you have to sign a contract with yourself. Signing a contract with yourself is a brilliant way to make yourself feel committed, right? It's the act of commitment, the act of intention. In Sanskrit, it's called sankalpa, Sankalpa, that there has to be a contract, a commitment with oneself, an intention with oneself. When we're serious about something, we have a contract, right? When we're not serious about something, we don't have a contract. Keeping a contract to yourself, a commitment to yourself, is a really powerful step. Now, this next one's huge because I find that a lot of our wellness habits are connected to this one. So if you had working out, changing your food patterns connected to what you want to stay motivated around, I was looking at the top 5 New Year's resolutions: improving fitness, improving finances, improving mental health, losing weight, and improving diet. I'm going to share with you one that affects all of those. There's one habit that affects every single one of those. Can you guess what it is? Sleep. A recent study shows that a reduction in sleep of 33% led to increased hunger and food cravings the next day in study participants. The researchers suggested that sleep deprivation activates food-related reward regions in the brain, leading to more hunger. Lack of sleep can cause an increase in the production of the hunger hormone and